You launch with noise, a press release, a logo, a midnight pitch deck. You strap on belief like armor. You tell yourself this time will be different. The first customers trickle in. The second month is thin. Then the product breaks. Revenue shrinks. You close the doors. You sign the papers. You walk away with a box of old dreams. You tell yourself you learned something. You tell yourself you will try again. Silence follows. The sting of failure is sharp, immediate. It rings in your bones. It rewrites the soundtrack of your nights. You wake with the taste of what slipped away. You wonder if the fault lies in you. You whisper the word, broken. You start again. Different industry, a different team, different promises. You repeat the ritual. Investors nod, friends cheer. You almost believe them. But months later, the pattern returns. Pivot, cut costs, Hail Mary feature. The burn rate devours goodwill. A key hire quits. A supplier dies. Numbers don't lie. They point to the same ending. You fold the cards for the second time. Now it is no longer an accident. Now it's a series, an echo, a theme. You begin to measure yourself in failures. Your confidence becomes a brittle coin. You stop inviting people to the launch parties. You stop saying you are a founder. You start to explain yourself as someone between jobs. You sit in a dim room with the receipts. You map out what went wrong, not to punish, to understand. Market size was wishful thinking. Your ICP was broad and polite. You built for everyone and reached no one. The product solved a symptom, not a cause. You launched when the market needed education, not solution. Your unit economics were a lie wrapped in hope. You hired before product market fit. The team was talented but misaligned. You chased growth when you should have been building margins. Timing was off. Pricing was timid. You mistook traction for permanence. Failures, precise as a surgeon's notes, they are evidence, not indictment. If you can read them, you can learn from them. But learning is an ugly, patient work. Grief isn't linear. You lose friends. Your bank calls. You hide mistakes from your mother. You question whether entrepreneurship is vanity or vocation. You measure worth in exits and cover letters. You fear trying again because the fall feels deeper now. You imagine critics in your future. You imagine the never-ending thread of "I told you so." It is a violent internal film. And yet, something else stirs. The same impulse that pushed you to launch nudges you again. You are restless in the way only creators are restless. There is hunger. Not for money, for the act of making something that matters. This is where the story forks. Failure becomes a grave or a laboratory. If you choose the laboratory, you catalog failures like specimens. You build an autopsy for every venture. You write down the decisions that killed it. You make the mistakes repeatable and thus preventable. You harvest the skills you acquired. You are now fluent in early hiring. You can read a cap table the way other people read poetry. You can run a cash forecast blindfolded. These are weapons forged in the fire. They are valuable. They are your curriculum. You start to prefer hypotheses to hopes. You test fast. You fail cheap. You stop building castles without foundations. You start to design small ships that can be rebuilt quickly. You begin to love constraints. Constraints force creativity. They force prioritization. They separate the signal from the noise. Now you assemble a new playbook. First rule: de-risk before you scale. Cheap experiments replace costly bets. Sell before you build. Put a price on the idea. See if someone pays. Second rule: narrow the enemy. Define one customer, one problem, one metric. Ruthless focus beats polished vagueness. Third rule: runway is a religion. You design with cash in mind. Unit economics dictate decisions. If the math doesn't work in the first 90 days, it won't later. Fourth rule: people are signals. Hire slowly. Fire quickly. Measure contribution, not charisma. Fifth rule, design for learning. Every action should answer a question. If it doesn't, it is theatrical. You stop spinning to impress. You start doing to know. You also build a portfolio of attempts. You stop betting the farm on one horse. Each small venture becomes an experiment in a greater thesis. One will fail spectacularly. One will teach you marketing. One will give you a channel. One will break but leave an asset, a list, a tech module, a partnership. The portfolio strategy is humble. It acknowledges randomness. It multiplies chances. It turns failure from catastrophe into currency. It is not reckless. It is diversified urgency. You are no longer a tragic protagonist. You are a methodical alchemist. You redefine success. Exit is nice, but not the only measure. The work becomes the scoreboard. Did you learn faster than the market moved? Did you discover a truth others ignored? Did you craft a repeatable, testable path? If yes, you succeeded. Sometimes your businesses are incubators for capability. Sometimes a failed app seeds a service that scales. Sometimes a burnt investor becomes a future partner. You begin to trace value in the spaces between outcomes. Failure is not the end. It is an input, a raw material. Then one morning you wake and feel different. Not unscathed, not invulnerable, smarter, precise. You launch a company that looks like the others. A landing page, a small wait list. This time you test pricing first. You sell 3 beta seats before you write a line of code. You iterate in public. You charge the right customers. You keep the team tiny. You build verbs, not features. The market responds. It whispers, then it talks. Revenue arrives early, not as a flood, but as a proof point. You protect margin. You protect runway. You scale like a surgeon, making precise incisions. No fanfare, no assumption of immortality. Just steady, kinetic progress. This company grows, not because you are lucky, because you learn to read the map of your failures, because you turned each collapse into a compass, because you chose iteration over ego. You stand at the window of your office, modest, real. A stack of old boxes sits under a shelf. You keep them as a map. You are not a person defined by losses. You are a person who turned losses into architecture. If every business you started failed, you would still be the same person. Maybe quieter, more exact, hungry in a new way. And now, finally, better equipped. You step forward. You build again. This time, you expect the fall. But you also design the landing.